Let's talk about 6 important terms which are commonly asked in your answer writing for UPSC, be it your optional or your GS paper. So let's begin with 4 important terms: elaborate, justify, illustrate, throw light on. Now when it is throw light on, you have to be very specific on the topic. For example, there is a topic on polity, directive principles of state policy. You are asked to throw light on DPSPs. So what are DPSPs? What are the major things that are under DPSPs? India adopted DPSP from which country? What are the benefits under it, and why India should have DPSP? So those are some of the things that you would mention in an answer like that. When it is illustrate, along with the answer, examples are must. So illustrate in itself means give examples, give diagrams, give data, give statistics, case studies. But again, it's not important. A lot of students say, I have included a section on social relevance. It's not actually mandatory that the same mechanism would work for all your answers. No, definitely not. So it's not required that every answer you should have social relevance, right? Based on the requirement of the topic, if it is related to economics, you just have to do economic significance there. No social significance required for those answers. Justify. Justify means you take a direction. Either you are in favor of it or you are against it. But whatever direction you take, you have to stand by that direction. Extremely important. So personalized views are important, and as always, I always recommend, when you are putting in your personalized views, those should not be highly extreme. Moderate would be a good way of answering the questions, but no extreme sides that you should put in the answer. The next is elaborate. Now, when you talk about elaborate, you have to explain a concept. Now, elaborate is one of the most common questions in general studies, and here you explain the topic, the positives and the negatives of the topic, and an overview of the topic. Now, when you are saying overview, this would include the historical background. It can include the political happenings. It can also include the economic and the social viability of the project. So, for example, if you are asked a question on mission life, or you are asked a question on SpaceX, you can include all those topics under this concept. The next is 2 important terms: contrast and compare and contrast. What is the difference? When it is contrast, you have to put down only differences. The best way of explaining the differences is in a tabular form. You can have another column of parameters where you can say, against these things, I would be writing the difference between the two things. Again, when you are writing differences under contrast, it's a good idea to have an introductory 1 to 3 lines explaining the concept and then start with the table, no direct tables. Compare and contrast is little different. Here, rather than just putting in the differences, you also bring in similarities. So both of those could be either in the table form, differences in the table form, similarities in the theory form. That could be one way in which you could write. But introduction again is mandatory when you are comparing and contrasting. So it's really important that you bring in similarities as well when the question talks about compare and contrast, in comparison to when you have a question which asks only contrast. So small things, but they make huge difference when you are writing your answers. Answer writing would come more as you practice. So for regular feedbacks on the answers, you can follow the link below for our support. Wish you good luck. Have a wonderful evening.